Right guys and girls, so a few hints and tips for running a successful triathlon event. So there's a few things we noticed which helped our events run smoothly last year. So preparation is key. Nicely cleaned and well-maintained Concept 2 equipment is going to give your triathletes a really consistent experience on the day. Bearing in mind you might have people from outside of your gym as well. You never know, they might come off of using brand new Concept 2 equipment in their gym. So you want to make sure that it's as a consistent thing as possible. They could use any damper settings that they like, okay, so that's one thing to make clear throughout. So with the setup, you just want some nice straight lines really, so it's easy for you to manage. It's easy for the triathletes and the competitors to know where they're going next. We've got quite a small setup here today, but as you can see, we've got 3 lanes in a small area. I'd probably have a little bit more space in between them normally than this, just to give particularly the pairs a little bit more room to manoeuvre in and around as well. So other little things, so ski, just want to make sure that the base of them is on a nice flat setting so that they don't kind of move around as the athlete's on them. And that is pretty much it. The ski erg is really reliable piece of equipment, never really get any issues with that. At that point, it's the first phase of the triathlon, so the athletes are fairly fresh. However, it is an endurance event and people do sweat. So when we did our tour, we had a sweat towel that we had, only a little flannel type thing from Tesco's, I think it was, product endorsement. Just per piece of equipment, and we advise them just to give it a bit of a wipe down after. Now that may be a good thing for you to do at your one as well. It tends to get a little bit worse as you go through really, and particularly on the bike. What could work quite well, if you've got Astro matting, is to maybe, it's not an essential, but maybe have the bikes on the Astro matting because it absorbs any sweat quite well. Other little things, so people can take drinks and stuff like that on to the course with them. Just be mindful, I suppose, that sometimes they get knocked over if there's too many people milling around, and you want to try and keep the spectators off of the arena. Temptation is that, particularly if you're in a gym that's quite relaxed about, dogs coming in and kids running around and that sort of thing, it can get quite manic quite quickly. So we found it best for the athletes and the judges that it was left quite clear really. What else is there? So one thing on the bikes I would say is what tends to happen is that people will get on the bikes in a 2-minute transition. They'll do a couple of pedals around. So you may want to just double check the bikes are set to 0 before they start, just a quick recheck on that. They can use, we've said that they can use chalk if they need to, say for the grip on the rower. That's down to you guys, it'll be your equipment. So, but how to get around that is a lot of people perhaps wear gloves. So they can access the water pretty easy on the bikes, the central reservation bit, they can stick them there. Pairs, it's obviously no issue. But yeah, that's it really. Keep everything nice and tidy, keep your score sheets nice and tidy, and perhaps on a different table away from the arena, and I think you're going to have a pretty successful event. Just be pretty vigilant and making sure that they can see the timer or they're aware of the timings as they go. One thing I do is I go round with I have a microphone at the events, and then every 5 minutes I will give a bit of a rundown on who's on what scores. The athletes tend to like to know where they're at. You don't have to do that every 5 minutes, you don't have to do it at all if you don't want to, but maybe you could perhaps do, it doesn't have to be 5, it might be on 7, might be on 10, but it tends to work quite well, and it gives people a feel of they're doing an event in their own gym. Okay, so that's what we want to make it. We want to make it feel like a special occasion that they'll remember and want to do again for you and for them really. Alright guys, so just a few tips to make your day go smoothly, and we hope you have a good one. So a few rules for the triathlon. Hasn't got many because it's such a simple concept, but there's a few generic rules. The first is, and the main thing you want to exaggerate and emphasise at the event, is that the athletes do not touch the monitor. Okay, that is your responsibility to control that. You've got all the data on that then. The next rule Next generic rule is that they have no outside assistance, so kind of people coming in, giving them water, or anything else basically. So there's some generic rules, couple of. Main thing is don't touch the monitor. Specific rules for the skier. The start position, you're going to start off of the platform and not touching the handles. Okay, so once 3, 2, 1, go, then they can step in and away they go. The only exception to that will be in the junior categories, when you're going to have little ones that can't reach the handles on their own, so they'll be allowed to start on the platform with the handles in their hands. Specific rules for the bike in the triathlon. So they can start with the bike set up to their own personal preference. In that 2-minute transition, they can adjust the hip seat height. They can have been sat on it to do that as well, and then they can adjust the handbar position, which is up and down, and then forward and back as well. Once again, no need to touch the monitor. Alright, so once they're in position and the clock's ticking down, they're nearly ready to go. They can be sat on the equipment, but what we're going to say is that the feet need to be on the central reservation, okay, and then the hands on the thighs. So this is the start position. On 3, 2, 1, go, then they're away. So hands on handballs and then they're off. When they're finished, 3, 2, 1, go. Stop motion. So specific rule in for the third and final piece of kit, the Concept 2 row erg. So for this one, they can be sat in, feet strapped in, but they have to start 3, 2, 1, go. 3, 2, 1, stop. There it goes. Right guys and girls, we're going to talk a bit about the scoring for the Driathlon. Very simple process. For that you'll need a few things. Just a clipboard, a score sheet and a pen. Okay, we found the best way to take the scores is if you've got one judge per piece of equipment. So for example, one judge will do all of the skis, another one will do all the bikes, and another one will do all the rowers, and then you can kind of keep them just stacked on top of one another. The things that you'll see on your score sheet is the athlete's name. So we've got Joe Bloggs. He's in the male 40 to 49 category, and he's at this event at CrossFit Plymouth, CFP. We've just progressed onto the bike now, so we're just going to say he's got 352 calories on the ski, so that's his score there. Another thing to mention as well, we've got this information up here, so he's in Heat 1, Lane 2. That's very important for you when you're keeping all of your data organised. Alright, so we're just going to have a quick look at the screen now, and then I'm going to whiz around on it, do a couple of spins, and then you're going to see what you're looking out for. So this will be going up to 20 minutes off of your main gym clock. I'll stop at 20 minutes. We're looking at this figure here. So at 20 minutes we're going to stop. We're going to let it click over if it does, which it has. Alright, so Joe Bloggs has then scored 5 calories for his bike. So we just write his score in on the score sheet. That'll be taken away, and then that'll get ready for the same process to be done on the row as well. So he'll end up with 3 scores for the ski, for the bike, for the row, and then you'll want to nominate a person just to tally all of that up to give them their total. Alright, so that's a very simple process. What you'll probably get is the athlete will want to know almost instantly what they got, what their score was. I'll probably within the briefing just say to them, give you sort of 5-10 minutes to get all of the scores in. So yeah, simple as that really guys. Just name, category, event, ski, bike, row, total, nice and clear. And then that will be transferred onto another spreadsheet, which will then come across to us where we can populate the main, regional and national kind of leaderboards. So yeah, simple as that. Alright guys and girls, so we're just going to talk a little bit about mechanical issues within the Driathlon event. So the Concept 2 equipment, as you will know, is very resilient. We've had over 900 people through the event last year. We had 4 incidents where there was a mechanical issue, and I don't know if it's coincidence, but each time it was on the bike. So we're going to demonstrate what we do on that. It's important to note as well that in the online briefing that we've given to your athletes, it does mention about what we call the emergency lane and an emergency procedure. So the first thing is, and you may want to rebrief them on this, is the first thing is that you know everyone stays calm. They kind of notify you as quick and concisely as they can that they've got an issue with their piece of equipment, and then you will transfer, or they will be transferred over to an emergency lane, which will be one of your X amount of lanes that you've got set up, and they'll know which one it is that they're going on. So yeah, basically the procedure is, say for example I'm on the bike, and all of a sudden the machine or the monitor freezes. I'm going to notify one of the judges, okay, and then quickly as I can, which normally takes no longer than 20 seconds, we're just going to move over and jump on another piece of kit. And from an athlete perspective, they're away then, okay, that's taken them probably no longer than 20 seconds. So what we would then do, we would work out what their score has been in calories up to that point. So say for example, they've been on it exactly 10 minutes and they've got 100 calories, okay? We've transferred them over, we've noted their 100 calories on the score sheet. We've noticed also that it's taken, say 20 seconds to transfer them across to another piece of equipment. What we'll then do is we'll take a note of their new score effectively on their other piece of equipment, and we will account for a mean average of their score for the 20 seconds. Okay, so say for example we work it out and they're doing 30 calories per minute. Obviously that's quite a high score, but 20 seconds of that would be effectively a third of that would be 10 calories, and that's what we would add on at the end. Okay, so we've got 2 scores that we know off of this machine's monitor, that machine's monitor, and we've allocated an amount of calories that they would have got in that transition time as well. That's been a really fair way of doing it, and all of those sort of 4 or 5 athletes were totally happy with that as well. So yeah, it doesn't often happen, but you do need to know what that emergency procedure is should it happen at your event. Timing for the Driathlon. Assumably your gym will have a gym clock, and hopefully you'll know how to use your remote control as well. So you've got a few options. What we have done, we set it to 20-minute work periods, different obviously if you're doing the half dry or the junior dry, which will be 10 minutes. We set it for 20 minutes with a 2-minute interval, and then we just put it on 99 intervals, so it just carries on and on throughout the day. And then once the event starts, it just runs off of that and it runs nice and smoothly. If you don't know how to do that, no worries, just do it manually with your clock and with the 10 second, probably give a 10-second countdown. So just making sure that all the athletes are aware and can see where that clock is, because they'll all run off of that clock, and the equipment will run on, it'll either be just ski, just bike or just row, and it will start at 0. And then it will go up to 20 minutes on your clock. So the reason we do that is because when you some of the machinery is slightly differently calibrated, so that say for example 20 minutes on one piece of kit is not quite the same 20 minutes on another piece of kit. So it might mean that someone's got up to sort of 5-6 seconds to do that little bit more work. Sounds silly, does happen. So therefore, if you're all going off of the same clock, you'll all be doing the same work time. That needs therefore managing, and in which case you put in place their start position so that they're not going to get like a jump start on the thing. What you have got to work on is making sure that they stop at the same time. Okay, so in the instance where someone's got earpods in or something like that, you need to make it really visual that it's time to stop. And we've found that everyone is really compliant with that as well, so and it works really well for us. So yeah, simple as you're going to give them a 10-second countdown. Okay, whether you've got a microphone, you might want to sort of call it out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and away they go. So they go on the O of go rather than the G of go, and then they've gone from their stationary position, they've grabbed their handles or feet on pedals or grabbed their handle on the rope, and they're away. And like I say, that runs now all the way through for 20 minutes until you get to that last sort of 10 seconds. Do keep them informed of where they are at time-wise if they can't, for whatever reason, see the clock. They'll have it on their machines anyway. So yeah, it's a very simple process, guys. Just using your gym clock.